Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite host, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 3, Episode 9, Pasta with Two Meatballs. We'll explain that title to you as we go along with the show. I am your host, Eric, my main man right over there. Ron, how are you tonight?
I'm doing okay.
All right, my friend.
This
Hey,
is a packed show. I don't even know where to begin.
that's what I was going to... What's your favorite sandwich, Ron? Like, what do you like? What like, if...
I do get like a meatball sub at least once
Right,
a
so
week.
you get a nice meatball sub, right? But you put that extra cheese, a little bit of salt.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
today's show. That's tonight's show. Like we've got so much to pack. The meatballs stop falling out of the grinder because you just can't, right? Because that's how much is inside this
Yeah.
show tonight. We are gonna jam pack you with so much sports information tonight. Stay tuned for everything. Make sure you stay live and join in our predictions later on in the show as well. But let's start off with that leadoff story, and that's one David Pastrnak, who has signed an 8-year, $90 million deal to remain with the Boston Bruins. In your opinion, what does this mean going forward for the franchise?
That Bruins fans can breathe.
That's a good start to it. Yeah, that's a very good
It
start.
is a good start. You know, look, this is a big deal because we all know the history of Boston, right? Yeah, they get these, goal scorers, and they seem to not want to pay them, and they send them on their way, and they have great careers. And then we're always looking for that next guy, right?
Yeah.
And but I gotta tell you, with Neely and Don Sweeney, it has been different. They've been keeping their players, and we've been viable now for many years. Unfortunately, it's only that 2011 Stanley Cup, but
Yeah.
I feel confident in the Bruins' ability. What it means for the future, I don't know, but they're doing a good job with some prospects that they have now. So I think it's a good sign.
Yeah. So here's
Really.
what scares me. The only thing that really scares me, Ron, when we look at it, is the fact that they're probably in a win now mode.
Oh yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
because you're not with that kind of contract, that salary now, it's going to be very difficult for them to continue to add pieces. You got Bergeron, who's basically on a year-to-year. We expect Krejci probably will not return after this season. I mean, the future does still look right, though. 2024, they still have Marchand and Hall and Olmark signed till 2024, and McAvoy and Lindholm till 2026 and beyond. So they have some talent.
Yeah.
The key is, though, again, in Pastrnak having an outstanding season.
Yeah,
is he not,
if they would have signed him before the season started, it would have been
less
better.
money. Yeah, less money. So he's now the face of the franchise, let's say, going forward for the next 8 to 10 years, we would expect.
Right.
So how do they build talent around him is going to be the important piece. Now, this is where it's going to start to get difficult for Neely and Sweeney because they've had the fortunes of having Bergeron with them. That made a difference, right? And then you get a guy like Pastrnak who's just taking that next step. He's been in the league 9 years now, and he's become a legitimate superstar in the NHL.
Yeah.
Can they find another guy that's going to be able to help Pastrnak when Bergeron and Krejci leave?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing. You need that center, and you hope somebody like Lysell can come up and be that guy, right? I mean, that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping maybe Coyle can even be further productive, and become a guy that, can center that top line. And just, if you don't have to be the scorer, you just have to, make the right plays He's good defensively, so that's not really a problem. You just hope that he can produce at least the assists.
Yeah, it's so a great signing for the Boston Bruins, but they not only got David Pastrnak
Mm.
locked up for 8 years, they made a lot of moves that we didn't expect. So we're going to talk about those as well. And let's talk first of all the Dmitry Orlov move from Washington: 6 goals, 21 assists, +6 with Washington and Boston in 4 games so far with Boston. 2 goals.
No,
That move.
3.
Oh, I saw 2. Okay,
3 goals, 5 assists in 4 games. Go figure, right?
okay.
I mean, he's had a different defense partner every game so far.
And then Garnett Hathaway.
Yes.
Your thoughts on that move as well?
It's a good pickup. Like I said, I did not have a problem with the pickup itself. Just thought they gave a little too much away. It cost them a lot of draft picks.
But I think again, to your
but,
point, they're looking
yeah.
at it's win now. It's win
Right.
now.
Right.
There is no future or worrying about what those picks would turn into. They want to win
Absolutely.
now. This pick to me, this trade, very sneaky because now you get a guy in Tyler Bertuzzi
Yes.
who has struggled with Detroit, but now you put him around a lot of talent. He scored over
Yeah.
30. He scored 30 goals last season.
Yeah.
This kid can score.
Well, I know he can.
You put him on the right line, Ron, with the right guys around him. Now, does this become that player that maybe ultimately guarantees him a Stanley Cup?
Yeah, well, most likely he's going to be on that third line with Frederick and Coyle, which is not chump change because they all hustle. And Frederick is going to dig and dig and dig and dig. And if Bertuzzi's in the right spot, Frederick and Coyle will find him, and he's going to bury the puck. I mean, that just seems like inevitable to me. We hope that Taylor Hall does come back soon.
Yeah,
but
so he's on the
if
long-term
not,
IR right now, right?
Yeah,
Long-term
if
IR.
not, you just take your time with Hall and you wait till he's ready. And if you can give him a couple of games before, the end of the season, then he'll be ready to play. And then you put Bertuzzi where he needs to be, probably with Coyle and Hall. And then you have a guy like Frederick center the fourth line. No offense to Noshik, but I'd rather have Frederick in the lineup than Noshik.
And then you got to look. The only thing right now kind of could stop the Boston Bruins is injuries.
Yeah.
Right. You got Hall. Marchand got hurt. I don't think it's as serious. They really didn't.
I hope not.
But again, these are the things that you got to start to worry about with this team is, did they pick up enough talent, Ron, to overcome some of those injuries if they do come down the pike?
Well, I think it's obvious, yes, because of the track record this season. Especially at the beginning of the season when they had no Marchand or McAvoy, they overcame it. And in fact, the experts all out there, NHL Network, ESPN, yes, I'm calling them all out, all got it wrong when most of them said they either wouldn't make the playoffs or barely make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're a lock.
Yeah, they were a little off.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Just a wee bit. It also broke some history, right? The fastest to get to 100 points in a season.
Yep.
So, I mean, everything that they're doing.
Streak. I mean, it's craziness.
And then, they may have the all-time wins record by the time this season's over as well. So they're on pace to do that as well. We will talk more hockey later on in the show. We will break down some of the trades that did happen, give you guys some of the winners and losers that we felt benefited from the trade deadline and maybe didn't do so well. That'll be coming up later on in the show. But we're going to move on to some NFL talk. The NFL draft coming up. Big story coming out of the NFL draft. Defensive tackle from Georgia, Jalen Carter's draft status is now in the air after an arrest. Would you still take him as a first-round selection? He was scheduled to possibly be the number 1 pick overall. They saying as low as 3. But now, what would you do if you're running one of these organizations and you had to make a decision on drafting Jalen Carter?
Well, it all depends on what you get arrested for. I mean,
So right now it's reckless driving and
yeah,
racing in connection with the two deaths of a teammate and a recruiting staff member. I guess they were in the other vehicle that he was racing, and then he gave
right.
conflicting reports to the police afterwards because he was on site. I mean, listen, he's a kid in some aspects. I want to kind of look at it that way, but he's also possibly facing up to 12 months in jail. And if I'm an organization and you don't get many number one picks,
Is it only 12 months though?
it's 12 months. In Georgia, the state of Georgia, they said the penalty would be 12 months and $1,000 fine, which is unreal to think
Because
about.
wouldn't that be like some sort of vehicular manslaughter?
I think because he wasn't driving the vehicle. And again, don't quote me. I'm no law scholar. I can't tell you exactly. But when I read the story, I think it be because they were just racing. He didn't technically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause the accident in a way that, killed them. They must have lost control as they were racing. The fact that he was racing them puts him kind of involved in it. I think the biggest story was that he lied to the police, and I think that's why ultimately the charges were brought against him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, that's it goes as far as character.
Right. Think about the background you have to do now.
Well, I mean, just think of the repercussions of what happens if you draft him and then he decides, to say, I don't know, burn a car, kill some people, Does that sound familiar?
You went right there. Wow.
I went right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, realistically, he's got a track record now, and how much he can convince teams that it was a mistake. Again, we do some dumb things when we're
But see, if I'm a team owner, I want quality people working in my organization. So I don't want history of, bad things. I mean, yes, kids can be kids. That's fine and dandy. But where is that line that you're drawing in the sand? You know what I'm saying?
We could say that with anybody, right? And you still see them pick up guys that every time we say there's no way we touch this guy with a 10-foot pole, and then they do it.
Right.
So I guess the real question is, do you still think he's going to be a top 5 draft pick in this upcoming draft?
No.
All right. Well, stay tuned. April 28th, 8 p.m., Sports Unfolded special, NFL Draft Watch Party. We will be doing, and my Rhode Island accent came out there really well, the Watch Party. And and we will definitely make sure that we're going to be watching this story very closely. It's an interesting one because, again, sometimes you just assume that this is going to change the status, and sometimes teams surprise you and they still make a move. You know what they say when you assume, my friend. But I can't wait for that draft because I think that just unfortunately changed the dynamic of how we were going to look at it because we really felt like he was going to be a number 1 draft pick. And now that might change. This makes Chicago's decision a lot easier as well, right? Trade down. You don't have to take him because he may be available later on in the draft, honestly.
Yeah.
If that's the direction they were going to head. So let's move on to Lamar Jackson. We're going to talk about Lamar Jackson a little bit here and see what we think is going to happen with Lamar next season. Is there anything that you're looking for from Lamar Jackson? Is he going to re-sign with the Baltimore Ravens? Are they going to franchise him? Is there going to be a trade? What do you think is more likely to happen with Lamar Jackson next season?
This is a tough one because on one hand, I can understand Lamar Jackson, but on the other hand, I understand what Baltimore Ravens are thinking. Do I really want to give a guy that much money that may not ever stay healthy in a season?
Or choose not to stay healthy? Ron, if listen, Sports Unfolded, I think we're pretty successful based on what we've done, right? We've been around for a couple of years now. We're doing some stuff. Imagine if we only did it 60% of the time.
Yeah.
That's Lamar Jackson right now.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson basically says, I don't think I want to play. I don't think I want to play. I'm not going to jeopardize my future. Okay, that's great. But as an organization, how do I know that's not going to be your outcome every year?
Yeah, well, again, like I said, do they want to pay him, what Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson got? Personally, I think those were bad contracts, because I wouldn't give either of them that big contract because they have not done anything to even warrant that. And on the other hand, you're looking at Lamar Jackson when he is playing, and playing full out. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
He's a difference maker. You're right. You're
But
absolutely right.
the problem is, can he get through a full season without any reason to not play?
And again, it's his style. So
Yeah.
you got to question that as well. Is his style going to ultimately get him hurt during the course of a season?
Yeah, this is why you look at all these quarterbacks that are mobile and they use their legs. They tend to get hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'll take the pocket passer and, just get an offensive line and at least one good receiver, and you should be good to go.
So I did want to look at it this way, too. Teams that I feel need a quarterback right now. I'm going to throw the names out. You just give thumbs up, thumbs down if you think this may be a possible landing spot for Lamar Jackson. How's that?
Okay.
Or you can say yes or no. That's
Okay.
up to you.
All right.
mean, I don't want to dictate how this show goes, my friend. I mean, there you go. I like it though. You could do a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. Washington Commanders.
I don't like that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I like that.
Atlanta Falcons.
I don't like that.
Carolina Panthers.
I don't like that.
New York Giants.
Well, I like that for him. I don't like it for the Patriots. So it's
the Giants, though, not the Jets.
The Giants.
The
Oh,
Giants.
Giants. Oh, yes, I would much rather have Lamar Jackson.
Seattle Seahawks.
I don't like that.
And then you said the Jets already. We know how you feel.
Yeah.
So out of those teams, the only three teams that I think realistically have a shot, Atlanta has $61 million in cap space right now. Vegas, $46 million. The New York Giants, $43 million. I'm starting to think the Giants could very easily say, look, is that not an upgrade from Daniel Jones?
Oh, God. That goes without saying.
If you're going to pay a quarterback $45 million, let's just say Daniel Jones, wouldn't you explore maybe making that Lamar Jackson instead?
Well, like we talked about this before, I would never pay that much money for Daniel Jones.
Faceless, thanks for joining. I'm just saying that's the going rate.
I'm just saying I would never sign him for that much
We know
money.
how you feel about it.
I think he's a bum.
New York Giants.
I
didn't think about it.
Look, I like the Giants with him, and I like Vegas with him.
And I'm surprised. Bring back Michael Vick's old number 7, put him back in Atlanta. It's like watching him all over again.
He won't go to Atlanta.
They like mobile quarterbacks in Atlanta.
Yeah, but he won't go there.
Why not?
It's not a team that's ready to win.
Okay. You think he's going to be looking for a team that's ready to go down? Okay. I like that.
He's going to leave Baltimore. He's going to go to a team that can win.
So Vegas would make the most sense.
That's what I think.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. But I think Devontae
that would be a
Adams,
hell of a upgrade from Stidham.
The rumor is, there is no rumor. I'm making this rumor up. But the rumor is Devontae Adams went into that dark room with Aaron Rodgers for a little bit and kind of try to convince him to come over to Vegas. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, my friend. All right. You know what time it is, my friend?
No. I don't know, like quarter past?
There's one. There's two. There it is. It's a triple play.
It's a triple play. And it is time for our triple play. We will decide who we start, bench, and cut. Tonight's players are all leading the NBA in 3 points made per game this season. That's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Damian Lillard. So, Ron, you are first this week. You need to decide who you start, who you bench, and who you cut.
Well, this is tough because I'm going to start Curry. Even though he's spent some time injured this year, but I think he's pretty stable as far as.
Can I stop you for
healthy.
1 second? Can I stop you for 1 second? Because I know how you hate injuries and players that don't play. And all three of these guys, as soon as I'm writing it down, I said, I don't know how he's going to go through this.
Yeah,
because he can't say, well, I want to take the guy that's not as injured all the time. Wait, they all are. They've all missed significant amount of time in their career. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, but with that, I'm going to go with Curry because he's the better player, I think, out of all of them.
All right.
And then after that, it's a crapshoot. Is Scal available?
Scal, bring him back. The Red Mamba.
Look, I think Lillard is a much better player than Thompson. But man, he never plays. He never plays. But I'll roll the dice and I'll go with Lillard. Just because of the quality player he is. I don't know. There's got to be somebody. Somebody's got to stay on the line.
I knew this was going to be so difficult.
Somebody's got to stay by the phone because one of these guys is going to get hurt, and I'm going to need the other guy. And there's a possibility that all three of them could be out at the same time, and I have to go get Scal.
Very, very good possibility on that. So as you went through, I started Steph, and I looked at how many 3-pointers he's made in his career, 3,302. He also shoots it at a better clip than anybody else on this list at 42.8%.
Yeah.
But then I went Klay Thompson, and the reason I went Klay Thompson is because he shoots it at 41.6% from 3-point range and 45.5% from the field. Damian Lillard's only shot 37.3% in his career.
Yeah.
And from 3-point
But he does so much else.
He's taken 6,303 threes.
I mean, look at all those towels he picks up off the floor during the games.
Wow, you are just... You know what? There's no dinner with pasta and meatballs with Damian Lillard for you. That's where we are at this point.
I'm guessing I'm not going to get a Christmas card this year.
You are not getting a Christmas card.
Hey, I put him on the bench at least.
You did. You actually, yeah, I cut him. Him.
So he at least has a job with me.
Yes, I guess.
I mean, it might only last a game or two,
but he's got one. He's got one for the time being. Well, that was our triple play. We are going to talk some NBA, though. We're going to continue on this NBA theme, and we're going to talk about one of your favorite players, and that's one Mr. LeBron James. So he's going to miss about 3 weeks with an injury. Do we think we may start to see the end of LeBron James' career?
Oh, look, he's just laying on the ground.
Kenny, thanks for joining us. Clay, that dude. Clay is that dude.
Look, and his teammates are consoling. Oh, I'm so sorry, LeBron. You're going to make us miss the playoffs now.
They're in 11th right now. You know that. 11th. You know what might make them miss the playoffs? It's not LeBron James. It's Anthony Davis.
Is he out too?
He decides when he wants to play. He took the other night off.
Yeah.
So again, if you don't get Anthony Davis with LeBron James out for 3 weeks, yes, you miss the playoffs.
When you think about it, why is he taking a day off?
I don't know. I don't.
I mean, hasn't he had enough? Hasn't he had enough time off already this year?
I think that NBA stands for no basketball at all now, because that's where they're at. They decide if they want to play or not play.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So I brought this point up with Kenny on our NBA ranking show. I don't know if I talked to you about it. I'm going to ask you this question before we get back into the LeBron James conversation, because this story that I heard blew my mind. The NBA is now debating on whether or not they should do a scoring cap so that players don't extend their minutes, and the games don't go over X amount of time. So basically, let's say a game goes to overtime. The first team that scores, let's say 130, wins the game. regardless of how much time's left on the clock. They just end the game so that players do not have to extend their minutes.
Okay, for
Ron,
that matter,
Go. Go.
For that matter, you know what? Just play 2-minute games.
I said this. Why not just
Because
make
that's
the
the
game?
only time that matters is
I
the
was
last
talking
2
to-
minutes.
I was talking to one of my buddies, and I said, "Why don't we just first team to score a basket, and then just end the game? Just end it."
It's just stupid. It's stupid. This is
I-
the NBA trying to do everything they can to
Cater to the
scrape
players.
to scrape up to be the better league, and that's not the way of doing it.
Ridiculous.
You
So
do that,
LeBron
I'm
James.
not watching you anymore.
LeBron James. What your thoughts? Is this? Are we seeing
God, I hope so.
the back end of his career now?
I hope so. I think it's been the back end of his career for a while.
So believe it or not, he's averaging 29 points a
I
game.
know it's sad. It's
so-
sad.
I think. Look, he probably could play another 2-3 years if they put a team around him.
It's because he does those tonal commercials, which I want my check, by the way.
Here we go. We're still waiting for McDonald's.
I know, but now we're waiting for them again.
Yes.
But he's in good shape when he's not too much paid to play. All right,
You are
Chris,
just-
LeBron.
Yeah.
Again?
Well, he's again. Never mind. Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be honest.
It's like a weekly thing.
We've got to give. He's still a top 10 player in the league. Right
He
now,
is. I agree.
which is crazy to think about at his age and what he's been able to accomplish.
I just think he's a jackwagon for what he did to Cleveland. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, he's waiting for Bronny, according to Kenny, right? That's where we think he's heading. But again, where does he go? I don't see the Lakers just saying, "Okay, we're going to sign Bronny." Bronny's got to play at least 1 year of college because that's the
Bronny's
rule
actually
now.
going to prove that he can play. Sorry.
He's a high school All-American. He was a McDonald's. That's twice today. All-American. So I mean, realistically, he's one of the top players in the country right now. So does that change his mindset of, look, is it more about him taking more games off? Is it making the playoffs? Is it trying to get one more ring? How does LeBron play this out? He will leave the Lakers. I mean, I thought that deal he signed, though, pretty much locked him in to retire as a Laker. This last deal he did. I mean, unless they trade him, and who's going to pick up a 40-year-old LeBron James? I don't know. I don't know where
Knicks.
we go with. Maybe right, New York. Maybe you get a mark. You're just trying to sell some tickets. That makes sense. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Does where Bronny go ultimately
Hey,
make a
imagine him in
difference?
Philly.
Or does Cleveland draft Bronny and then LeBron goes back and ends his career?
Oh no! Oh, Cleveland drafts him, right? And then to LeBron, you're not coming here.
Yeah, right.
That would be awesome.
And then they sign him right off the bat like a 10-year deal.
Yep.
Saying, sorry, I don't care. He's even if he's
You're
not
not
worth
coming.
it, he's not coming.
You're not coming. Oh my god!
Yeah,
And
I
then
mean-
he'd have to hold out, and then that's it. He never gets to
So-
play with him.
Ron, I'm going to ask you this question before we move on to our next topic. If you felt LeBron James still had value, and that was the missing piece for the Boston Celtics, say they lose again in the finals this year,
And then making
would you explore if they make the finals, would you explore maybe a LeBron James on the Boston Celtics?
Would I do it?
Yes.
And if I
let
can
me
keep all the
rephrase
players
it.
I got,
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, and you changed nothing,
all right, then I would probably do it.
right? So he still has that value in this league where you'd sit back and say he could win a championship with the right players around him.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, but I don't know if it's so much about him waiting to play with Bronny as much as it is, can he find a team that is ultimately going to be able to get him maybe one more ring?
But truthfully, if the Celtics did that, I probably wouldn't be a Celtics fan.
Listen, that's your option. If he gets us a ring, I'd love LeBron James for that 1 year. That's it, though. After that, I don't like him again. Let's talk about another duo here, and that's the Ball brothers. So they are now both done for the.
Are these the
season.
Meatballs?
That's the Meatballs, my friend. They are done for the season. Are you starting to feel like they are?
Wait. So there's 2 balls out?
Oh boy. Yes, my friend. They are out there and they are swinging away, my friend. Swinging away.
I love it.
They are
Love
not swinging at all, actually, because they are just sitting.
Hernia.
Are we starting to feel like they're more hype than they are talent?
Oh
at
God,
this point?
yes. What have they done? What have they done? They have done absolutely nothing in this league.
LaMelo won Rookie of the Year.
Ooh. What is that? Nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Because there's
Nothing
other guys.
from nothing means nothing.
Did Harden win a Rookie of the Year?
I don't think so. I don't think he did. I don't remember who won it.
Or Chris Paul?
No. LeBron James won a Rookie of the Year.
Of course he did. But the point is that you haven't done anything. Look, if they're getting all this hype, I want them to be able to carry their team at least to the playoffs, right?
Right. Neither one of them really. I think LaMelo made it once. Lonzo made it once. So listen to these numbers for Lonzo Ball. 6 seasons in the NBA. 52 games, 47 games, 63 games, which is his high. 55, 35, and this year 0.
Good guy. What a player.
That was a
great
hell of a
player to have.
contract. Chicago did a great job.
Yeah.
Bulls, I'm sure, are looking at it. And then if you look at his career numbers, 11.9 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, and 6.2 assists.
Yeah, big deal.
That's an average player, right?
Not
LaMelo-
even.
Okay. LaMelo, on the other hand, I mean, the kids put up some numbers. The problem is now here we go with injuries. So 51 games this first year, 75 his second year, now 36 he's done for the season. He's averaging 19.4, 6.4, and 7.3 assists this season. But overall, in his career, but 23.3, 6.4, and 8.4 in this year. So his numbers have gone up. If he can stay healthy, he's the best of the two.
But he can't. He can't.
How well did his dad sell these kids, though?
Oh, my God. And he was a nutcase himself.
I don't remember his name now. Is he even around anymore? What was his name? What was his name? Kenny, do you remember LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball's dad's name? What was his name? And he said he was better than Jordan. He could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I remember that whole story.
Oh, my God. Come on.
I think he scored a basket once on Jordan. He said he could beat Michael. I don't know. It's something.
Is his initials BS?
Oof.
BS Ball?
So, I mean, it's a shame to say, but I think, again, I agree with you. Hype, right? It's all hype here. So,
yeah.
I guess Kenny left us again.
At least when you talked about the Williams sisters, he had a lot of the hype. They won.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
They backed it up.
You know, and this is a guy that just tried to be like the Williams sisters' father.
Yeah.
Basically, he wanted to be the basketball version, and not even close.
Yeah, and I think the third kid didn't even make the league. He tried to get in and he couldn't make the league. So
yeah.
So look, you've heard it here: hype, not talent.
Yep. And now there's no balls.
Yeah, no balls on your Christmas tree. LeVar Ball. That's what it was, Kenny. Yes, LeVar Ball. Very, very good, Kenny. LeVar Ball. Yes, I mean that man sold those kids well because people paid him, and you are not getting what he delivered. That's ordering.
There's just so many ball jokes you can make. You know,
you order off of Amazon or you order off of Wish, and sometimes when you order off of Wish, you don't know. LeVar made sure that was like, I got these kids, man, and they're the best. They're the next best thing that's coming. And then they get on the court, and you go, "Oh, wait a minute, that's not. No, I don't think I ordered.
Make a wish for you.
Make a wish." All right, let's talk some Major League Baseball, my friend. And I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you've seen any of the spring training games yet, but
No.
do
No.
you think that the new rules have improved the game?
You mean like that strikeout rule that ended the Braves and Red Sox game? Are you
It
talking
wasn't in
about
the
that kind
box?
of rule?
Wasn't in the box or something, or even
Yeah, the automatic strike.
he doesn't engage the pitcher.
Yeah.
Got to engage. It's the rule.
Oh, it is. It sucks that it had to end the game, but it's what it is. I look. I don't like the bases bigger. I think that's just ridiculous.
Alex
It's
Cora,
stupid.
who I mean, we're not big fans of. He's definitely not on we're not on his Christmas card list either. But he said it looks like a pizza box out there now, and I thought that was a fair assessment.
It does.
That's a fair assessment. It's like a pizza box.
I don't like the bases. I think the bases idea. The only thing that's good about that is when it's a ground ball and the guy is trying to beat out the throw to first base. It is less likely a chance that they're going to collide, right?
Yeah, because now you're off the bag further.
Right. But that actually gives, and I don't know what they're thinking, that actually gives the defense the advantage because now they're closer to
on the ground balls. But now
Right.
for steals,
So that bang bang play is now bang bang.
But for steals now, though,
For
Ron,
steals,
if you look
it's
at right
faster, yeah.
now, it's better for the runner.
Yeah,
if you
because
get
you
on
get
base,
you get like an extra 6 inches basically.
on both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 3 on
And
one end, 3 on the other.
And sometimes some balls with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This show just went. It's done. We've lost it. We might as well shut it down now.
Well, you've lost it, not me.
We might as well shut it down already.
My ball jokes were good.
So, yeah, your ball jokes were very good. Very good. Players now hitting 272 versus last year at this time 259.
What does that mean? It's spring training. Who cares?
I'm going to take that as a plus, though. 13 points higher. This is where that shift we talked about makes a difference.
Wait, so they did stop the shift?
Yeah, no more shift. It's done.
That's the thing. That's the bigger deal.
That's the best thing baseball could have done.
Yeah.
Because honestly, for the purists, you're bringing back hitting. Wait,
did Poppy announce he's coming back?
He could now at this point, right? Because he can hit now. You can kind of slide it off to the side there, and it's gonna work for you.
Yeah.
And 2 hours 39 minutes versus 3 hours in a minute. So the time with the clock, the pitch clock, them getting in the batter's box now,
not being able to throw over more than
right?
twice.
Yep, twice. You're right. So I like a lot of these changes. I just hope in what you're seeing right now in spring training is the officials are calling it. The umps are calling it the right way.
Yeah, but when the regular season comes, they're just going to throw it out the window.
Right, and that's where they make the mistake in baseball. Because they did that rule with the batter's box a couple years ago, and then they just let guys start doing it again. Yeah, I can remember because it was the Nomar thing. Nomar, they guy fixed his glove 75 times.
Oh my God,
and I don't understand like how you can never get your glove right, but whatever. And yet they were like, "Oh, we're gonna call it, right? We're gonna call it," when they never did. They just stopped.
Yeah.
If you continue to make the calls the right way, I think these rules will work for Major League Baseball in both aspects.
Yeah.
The younger crowd's going to like the fact that the game's shorter. The purists are going to say, wow, look, they brought back hitting. You can see these guys now not batting 225. Maybe these guys bat 250, 260, 270. Maybe you get a guy over 300 because of some of the rule changes. I think Major League Baseball got this right, which is rare to say because we don't agree with that too much.
Right.
So
yeah, like I said, I like all the rules. I don't like the bigger bases, but
pizza boxes.
I understand why they did it.
Yeah. No, a lot of food talk today on today's show. I think we're both hungry.
Yeah.
Ron, it is time for our new segment. Future prospects.
Wait, we have another new segment?
Prospects.
What is this?
It's the future. Let's bring back our future prospects. And what our future prospects episode is, a segment basically is, we're going to make two bold statements And we've got to defend those statements, why we think that is going to happen in the future. You are first this week, my friend. Give us your number one future prospect.
Wait, does it have to be my number one?
Well, your first. Okay. I mean, Mr. Technical over here. Excuse us. Give us your prospects, Ron, in any
Okay.
order you'd prefer.
All right. So we have the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
We have the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
We have the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
And we have the Golden State Warriors. At least two of those are going to be out in the first round.
Okay. Which
I mean,
two? Do you have a two? Or
no, I'm just saying at least two of those are going to be eliminated in round one. Denver, Phoenix,
Oof.
Dallas, and Golden State.
Okay, I could see Golden State the way they've played this year. Maybe Dallas, depending. Okay, so I could see that. All right.
You're looking at the odds-on favorite now, Phoenix.
Yep.
Denver Nugget, who is leading.
Yep, the best team in the West. Yep.
Dallas and Golden State.
Okay.
Now, the reason why I say this, I mean, those are probably four of the most popular teams right now. When you think about it, because you have certain stars in those teams that are basically dominating, the talk.
Yep.
Jokic, Curry, Durant, and
Luka.
Luka, thank you.
Your
I
boy
actually
Luka.
forget.
That's
his
your
name.
guy.
I know.
How do you forget your guy?
I want
That's
him
right.
in Boston.
Yeah,
Just
that's
keep
your
him
dude.
having Green and bring him over here.
As Kenny said, that's that dude.
Right? So those are like really four. Oh, and plus Irving is in Dallas as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have really the five top guys that are getting talked about constantly in the West, and two of them are going to go out in the first round. And the reason being, right now, you're looking at Golden State and Dallas are on the bottom half of the playoff picture, so they might end up playing, one of those teams. So that's easily one.
I am claiming a victory because last week, my future prospect, I said the LA Lakers will win a series, which means that they would defeat one of those teams.
No, because they're not going to be in the playoffs.
I got this.
No.
I see the future. You saw my future.
No, because these are top six
right.
teams.
Okay.
Top six teams.
Okay. All right.
So
they got to play somebody on the bottom, which will be the Lakers.
So 5 and 6 would have to play 4 and 3.
Okay.
And right now, if I'm not mistaken, Phoenix is number 3.
If Denver's 1
2.
and the Lakers become 8, the Lakers, you're saying the Lakers could beat Denver.
Yeah, but they're not going to be in the playoffs.
Okay. So that was your first one.
And I think Minnesota can upset somebody.
They got to get in too. My first, the New England Patriots will trade for a top wide receiver this season. And everybody's saying, Eric, they never do this. They did it once, Randy Moss, but it was like most people gave up on Randy Moss. This is why. I think the pressure is on Bill Belichick to see if Mac Jones is going to be their future quarterback. Robert Kraft is going to sign a check and say, look, you get him a guy that gives him no excuses to say this kid can't be a legitimate quarterback. If he fails after they get a DeAndre Hopkins or T. Higgins, they get one of these guys, and you sit back and say, okay, now it's Mac Jones. They move on from Mac Jones. Until then, there's always going to be that doubt that says, look, he never had a top wide receiver, and that's why Mac Jones struggled. New England Patriots are on an influx of a year that they need to make something happen. They are trading for a top wide receiver this season.
What about Beckham?
I think the problem with Beckham is, again, to your point, he's never playing.
I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there.
They're getting a top wide receiver. That's my future prospect, my first one. Ron, your second future prospect.
All right. Conn Smythe Trophy. Playoff MVP for the NHL. It will be one of two guys. It's either going to be David Pasternak or Patrick Kane.
Oof.
So right there is my prediction on who's
making
winning
Eastern
the Stanley
Conference?
Cup.
Okay.
It's going to be one of those two teams.
Okay. Wow. And Kenny thinks I'm crazy. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
crazy,
are, but
Kenny. I see
I
the
like
future.
skipped over that. Yeah, you
I see the
future. All right.
future. So you got the Bruins or the Rangers winning the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. My second future prospect.
But the thing was the Conn Smythe. That was.
I get it. The playoff, the best. I got it.
I'm just saying.
You're right. You got it. So I'm also going with another award, and it's the NBA MVP. And I am going to tell you right now, in the future, Nikolai Jokic will not win the NBA MVP this season
No
because
kidding.
they're going to shaft him because they don't want to have somebody win 3 straight.
So we
It's
have
all
a
about
shaft and
meatballs,
2 balls.
shaft, meatballs, everything. Listen, this is a bad look for the NBA if they can't have a different player win the MVP award. They are going to purposely not give it to him, even though the man's averaging a triple-double. He's averaging a triple-double. He's
And
the
they're
best.
in first place.
And they're in first place. And he's not going to win the NBA MVP.
Right. But I
That
said
is my
this
future
during
thought.
one of our shows.
True. Kenny, thank you. Kenny sees the future as well.
Yeah, well, that's not that difficult to say he's not going to.
He's still the favorite right now. They're saying he's the favorite.
Eric, you're taking one guy and you say he's not going to win the MVP.
He's not. I'll tell you who will win it. You want to know?
Now, a bold
That's what you
prediction
want.
would be saying who would be
And on
the
top of it, who wins it? Giannis Antetokounmpo, because they want him to be the new face of the NBA.
Yes, because I said that like 2 weeks ago that he would be the MVP. I did. I did. Kenny was there.
This episode's not called Back to the Future.
Yeah, well, that's what you just did. You just took my prediction and you recycled it.
Easy, McFly. Easy. Dragan Petrovic, Luke, Tony Kukoc. I recommend you see the movie. Oh, there's a movie. Once Upon a Time, brothers. Yugoslavia won the championship. Then everyone quarreled because they were. Wow. That sounds like a very interesting movie. Dragan Petrovic was the kid from New Jersey Nets that passed away.
Oh, Divas.
Yeah. And then Tony Kukoc.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. What a great suggestion. I'm going to write that title down. I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds like a really good one. Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, but is it that's the name of the movie, Once Upon a Time, Brothers?
Yes, I guess.
Because I would definitely watch that because that's and I know what he's talking about. I mean, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, right, world problems happen there. Like how do you control that? And that's insane. World Cup basketball. Wow, we'll definitely check that out. I appreciate you mentioning that to us. That's a phenomenal.
What's actually your name? Because that I don't know what that means.
I don't either. We'll see if they chime in again. But thank you so much.
See if you can type in your first name there.
So, Ron, it is time for your favorite. Actually, I won that one as well.
There's nothing to win. What the hell are you talking about? You take my recycled.
Oh, your recycled. I think the only thing recycled right now are some of your jokes.
Oh my God.
So it is time for the segment of all segments for you tonight. And that is the NHL and our NHL trade deadline, which just passed at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot of moves happened, a lot of unexpected moves, things that you didn't even predict because it was
crazy.
Right? This has been
crazy.
The difference makers, and we're going to pick our winners and our losers. I guess what we'll do, Ron, is you'll kind of give a team, and then I'll give a team, and we'll keep going back and forth.
I'm going to have a team that's on both sides.
I don't even know how you do it. Just so you know, in the Balkan countries, basketball is like a religion there. Wow. That's very interesting. I can't wait. I'm really going to check this out because I feel like it's going to be one of those great documentaries. So I really appreciate that, the insight. I appreciate you joining us tonight on Sports Unfolded. That's awesome. What country are you from? If you don't mind us asking, if you can chime that in there too. Are you from the United States or overseas somewhere?
Yeah, and a name so that way we can actually call you by name and thank you and the whole bit because I don't know what. From what it looks like to me, might be some sort of Russian or some sort of country out there.
Maybe in a Balkan country, right? Maybe this
Yeah,
is why they recommend it. I think this
yeah.
is awesome. This is awesome to
And
get.
this is why we do the show, right? Because
And
we
and
can
it go,
reach out to people and
absolutely.
players all over the world.
And it goes to show, like, how global is the NBA? How global is basketball at this
Right,
point, right? What
right.
a difference maker basketball is in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. No, that's great. So we'll continue until we get some more comments here. But let's talk about one of your winners here. Who's one of your guys that you felt was a winner in the NBA, NBA. Now I got NBA on my brain. NHL trade deadline.
Well, I mean, you have to go with like say New Jersey for one.
All right, I had Jersey as well, right? Timo
Yeah,
Meyer.
because
I
I
thought it
mean
was a
they
great
picked up
move.
Timo Meyer, and that is huge because what that's going to do for New Jersey, just his presence around the net, his ability to just get open, drift, and find those spots around the net is going to be huge for New Jersey, and he's going to clean up a lot of the loose pucks and stuff
From
around.
Israel.
Israel, okay.
Euro League, okay. The best players in the world seen from Balkan. Yeah, Nikolai Jokic, shit. Luka Doncic,
Luka, Luka's my boy right now.
Right. So listen, you're listen. International basketball has definitely changed the NBA because there were players back in the day that you didn't consider. Now they're becoming,
Dominant.
top draft picks because of the way they play overseas
dominant.
now.
You two of the
Luka's,
best players in the league.
Yeah, and they've changed the game, so it's not just about scoring, right? If you think about what Luka brings, what Jokic brings, it's more about the total package.
Game, the rebounds, everything.
It's a total package. No, I agree, man, and that's phenomenal.
Smart players
joining us from Israel. That's phenomenal. I thank you for the support and appreciate you joining us tonight on the show. That's excellent.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So New Jersey, I agree.
I like New Jersey. And that should go a long way for the New Jersey Devils. I also obviously
my turn.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So you had as a winner, right, New Jersey?
Yep.
I had as a winner, and I'm going to go the obvious ones first. The New York Rangers, right? Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko. I think that kind of really put some energy in New York. They've got to see how they put it together on the ice, though. So far, the first game, I know it's one game only, and it didn't result in, I think, the outcome that they expected. So we'll have to see if it all blends together. But I think that was rumored for so long, and they were able to pull that trigger. So I thought New York, the Rangers, were a big winner there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have that on the list as well. I like the Winnipeg Jets moves.
Oh, okay. I didn't have them on my list at all. Okay.
So I mean, when you think about it, I mean, what were they really going to do, right? I mean, because they're a smaller market, and you might think that maybe the Nino Niederreiter might have been the last of what they were doing, right? But that was not. They had more players, and let me get my list. I can't find my list. When you add Niederreiter, and he took a really bad penalty his first game playing, that wasn't so good. But they also, made, another move. Was it yesterday? And I can't for the life of me think of his name. But it was a good pickup, and a Nemesnikov, that's what it was. They picked up him after he already got traded away, to the Sharks from Tampa Bay, and then Winnipeg went out and got him. Now, it doesn't seem like it's that huge of a deal, but with Winnipeg, you're adding two guys that have some skill, And I really think that's big in that Western Conference.
And didn't expect them to do anything realistically.
Right.
So that was a surprise.
You know, I figured, okay, you just go out and get a depth piece. You know, like we were talking, and it's like if I can find my list of where I thought Winnipeg was going to go out and get Donoff, right?
Yeah.
That's the guy that I thought that they would go after, somebody that can put the puck in the net, but not a high price tag, right? Well, they didn't end up getting him. He went to Dallas, and then they went out and got two pieces, and so that's already a plus.
Yeah.
And they were starting a tailspin, and I think that is going to right the ship, and I think they're going to start getting back into that style that they were playing. Nemestikov is going to be the smallest guy on the team, most likely. He doesn't have the size like all those other guys have, but he's got the skill, and he's going to fit nicely with that team.
Excellent. What you just mentioned, one of the other teams I had as a winner, Dallas Stars. You said
Yes.
Donoff, but Max Domi here at the end.
Yeah.
And we kept talking about they needed a guy that could put the puck in the net. They needed a scorer.
Right.
They got
19 goals, I believe.
Yeah.
18.
So again, here we go with Dallas is saying, look, the West, they know they have a great opportunity to win the West because it's kind of wide open.
Right.
They made a move to say, look, we're going to try to make sure we win this Western Conference.
Right. The only thing with
move.
him, though, he's not very disciplined. So he takes some bad penalties. He kind of runs around a little.
Yeah.
So trying to keep him focused is going to be a big thing for Dallas. Yeah. But I think the scoring aspect is going to outweigh any of that, because I think they have a solid defense and they have a lot of players that do come back and play both sides of the ice.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Listen, the Western stay quiet, man. There's definitely teams making moves. So who else did you have?
I had the LA Kings.
Okay. Wow.
And mostly because of getting Korpisalo. And it's like, yeah, but Ron, they traded Quick,
who's past his prime at this point.
Yes, he was playing horrible this season, and I'm sorry, they know it. And they had Copley, and they're like, well, is he going to be able to carry us through the playoffs? And they're like, no. So they went out and they got the best goaltender available in Korpisalo. And let me tell you, that is going to be huge for them, because now they're going to be in a position to possibly even take the Western Conference because of that goaltender. Now, yes, he's not proven in the playoffs, but they're hoping that his form in the playoffs will be what you see during the regular season. And unfortunately, the team in front of him was very poor, and that's going to be the thing. They're going to have to hope that because when you look at it, Korpisalo's got a better chance of being great than Copley in the playoffs. Of course, this is all speculation, right?
Yeah.
So, but to me, that was a huge, huge pickup. And I mean, that's going to be big. That's going to be big.
Oh, it's a good one. I had Minnesota Wild as well. Gustav Nyquist, Marcus Johansson, and then today,
right at the deadline,
John Klingsberg. So they got themselves a defenseman as well. Again, here we go with this Western Conference, and all these teams didn't sit packed. They said, we've got to make some moves. Well, there's some that sit packed. They'll be on our loser list. But the teams that we felt needed to make some moves to say, look, you are in contention, made some moves. I thought Minnesota, 3 very good players that they picked up. I liked what the Wild did at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I do as well. I had them on my list as well. There was a lot of teams
that helps them stay ahead of the Avs, Ron. I think that move might help them stay ahead of the Avs. I know the Avs, and we'll talk about them as well, but I thought they could have
I
done
think
more.
it did move them ahead. Yeah, I think you're right on that. And here's the team that we talked about already. Didn't really do much today, but they did make a move today. They basically shipped somebody out that they just traded for another, I believe, another defenseman. It's going to be a depth move, but Toronto adding.
I had them. Yep.
I mean, you're
Luke
talking
Schenn.
O'Reilly, McCabe. You're talking Luke Shen. Those are the three big ones right there. That's huge. And, it's like we always wondered, okay, are they ever really going to get a different defense in there?
Mm-hmm.
And for Toronto, it is absolutely must win now. Because next year, they're not going to be able to keep all their guys. Because they're just, the cap is just going to be on them.
Yeah.
And I believe after next season, they have a couple of free agents. I think I want to say it's Mitch Marner is one of them.
He's going to demand some big money. So
yeah, and I think Nylander is the other, and they're not going to be able to keep both. There's no way. And if they win it all, they're definitely not going to be able to keep both.
Yeah,
because they want more money, and so I think it's a win it now because you're going to have to trade away players next season, or don't win it, go out in the first round and trade players in, possibly the off season.
Yeah.
So, but they went for it. They swung for the fences. They have 9 defensemen deep now, and they have all the scoring power they want. Now we're going to find out if it's the goaltending or the defense.
Yep. No, absolutely. And my last one, and I could not be remiss if I did not mention the Boston Bruins. I thought they were winners.
Right.
I felt like, look, the moves they made early, and then, today, getting Bertuzzi, or yesterday, getting Bertuzzi, I thought was something that was unexpected. They didn't have to make moves.
Yeah.
They seem pretty well off. Look, and they didn't sit back with some injuries right now. They said, look, we got to get players in here that can still produce at the same level.
That's what did it. That's why Don Sweeney said, you know what? We can make a move because, we have Foligno and Taylor Hall out on long term. So we're going to go.
Money. Yep.
So we're going to go out there. We're going to get Bertuzzi. We bring him in. We don't lose anything on that third line. And we're going to go for it because we don't know if we're going to have Patrice or David back in the fold next year. So we're going for it. And I believe if they do win the Stanley Cup, Krejci is definitely out the door, and that could ultimately decide if Bergeron is out the door.
Yeah. Do you have any other winners before we go to our losers?
The Islanders for their early
move. They did it early. Yep, they made the early move.
Yeah.
They made the early move.
So I want to say, did they pick up another player as well?
I didn't see anything else from the Islanders, really. I mean, I may have missed it. But...
Quickly. Oh, yeah, they got Pierre Engvall from Toronto because Toronto was dumping some salary. So they took advantage of that. And it only cost them a third round pick for some depth. So that was actually a pretty good pickup. Right. I mean, it is what it is. It's a depth move, but playoff time, the further you go, the more injuries you're going to have. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What about some of the losers, Ron?
Okay, so Carolina. I know
the same thing. Gossesbear, right? They got Shane Gossesbear, and you sit back, but that's all they did.
Yeah, I thought they had. I thought they got another guy too. Puljujarvi from Edmonton. Edmonton got rid of him for salary reasons.
But if you look at what the East did, and a lot of the teams in the East that were already strong,
Yeah.
I felt like they didn't make as good of moves as
Yeah,
some of
because
those
I'm
teams ahead of
looking
them.
at this team and it's like, yes, they're good. They're really good. But the rest of the teams all got really,
That's what I'm
really
saying. Like
improved.
it just
And I think they just missed the boat here. I don't think they did enough. And I think it's going to come back and bite them because the Bruins were also close. And if I'm not mistaken, the Rangers were also close against them. And
aggressive, right? Those teams were aggressive.
yeah,
Boston was aggressive.
they
The
got
Rangers were
those two teams
aggressive.
got so much better, and
Toronto got
Carolina
better.
basically didn't get much better.
Right? I agree with you there. One of the other ones I had, believe it, Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah. Yep.
Tana Janot,
Yep.
right? And that's all they really did as well.
Yeah.
And I sat back and I said, look at the teams ahead of them and what
Yeah.
they did. And I just feel like those teams didn't take
do enough.
advantage.
Didn't do enough.
So I just think
And they might not be able to.
Yeah, at this point, like you said, financially as well. But yeah, that was Tampa Bay surprised me.
Yeah. That's definitely for sure. Sarah, thank you for being here.
Sarah, thanks for joining.
Another team that I have two other teams.
Okay. I got three. Go
I
ahead.
have Colorado as one of
Which
those
I was
teams.
going to put on there, and I kind of yep, I could see it.
You know, it's like I like this Colorado team, right?
Oh,
It's a good team, but
yeah,
did they get passed by Minnesota? Because now Minnesota is going to be better. Like, you still have Fleury there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Like, he could just stand on top of his head, and he has been playing well. I watched a game the other night where he was just making save after save after save. Now, they have a goaltender that can do it. They just improved their team a lot. I think they took a big leap. They have a shot at taking the West.
Yeah. Listen, I think the teams that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if Colorado did themselves any favors.
Yeah, agreed. I also had the Vegas Golden Knights, as crazy as it sounds. I mean, I liked they picked up guys, but then I thought they like Jonathan Quick to me didn't make sense based on the fact that I don't think that in the fact that look, what is he really going to get? I wouldn't trust him in a playoff series the way he's played this season. He's taken a step back, right? Age and everything else. Why would you? How does that benefit you if you're one of the top teams in the West?
Yeah,
and then
I can understand it though.
Maybe
because they picked up Barbashev too. I mean, that's a good pickup.
But you know what I mean? I don't know. Compared to what you saw Minnesota do, compared to what you saw Dallas do, I don't know. I just felt like those teams got much better, and I think Vegas kind of stayed the same. They were a good team, but they weren't better than those guys. I thought they were all lumped together, and I thought the other teams
to get Quick to be a backup. I mean, that's just okay.
But you're also thinking about Quick from Quick years ago, not Quick today.
Now that's why I'm saying you're getting Quick to be a backup. So basically, you're telling me if Thompson fails in the playoffs, you're going to go to Quick. Well, then you're already done.
Probably quickly, yeah.
You're already done then. Because if you feel that Thompson might not get the job done in the playoffs, you're already cooked. You're already cooked.
Yep. No, agreed. Who else do you have?
I have one more team. I also put Toronto as losers as well.
Wow. You're all over the place. Why?
Here's the reason why. Okay, so Toronto made all these moves, right? Well, that's like a 30% turnover rate for your team, where you're a team that is already in the top 5 in the league, and you just turned over 30% of your team. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it's questionable. Yeah.
So, and now I like each and every move they made. Like it. And that's why I put them as winners. But what this can do, this can get players running around, not knowing what they're
Yeah,
Their
change the
job
chemistry.
is
Yeah,
it changed the chemistry, like you said, and if they get into trouble, are they going to be able to recover because they're not used to each other?
probably not at
And
this point
in
the
the
season.
playoffs, if they lose to Tampa Bay again, they would definitely be losers.
Yeah. So I got three more, but I'll kind of bang them out quickly. Pittsburgh Penguins picked up an aging player, but I guess they were sellers. I would consider them,
Benino,
Bonino, yes, Nick Bonino, but I would consider them sellers. Like, and they were still in the race. They're still there, and I felt like they just said we're not even going to make a run here. And to your point, Sid Crosby, you still got some players that are viable in this league. That
yeah,
the window's closing, and
yeah.
I felt like they did. They should have
They
done
had to
something,
go for it this year because
and they did
the
it.
window is closing. But the problem with them is they're so tight on
The cap.
the cap. But they did pick up a defenseman though.
Yeah, and I thought they had a good amount of injuries. That they
Yeah,
could
well,
have
I mean,
used the IL, whatever that the long term.
yeah, long term IR. But I mean, they did pick up a defenseman, Kulikov from Anaheim, I believe, and I think that's going to help them. I mean,
Yeah.
he can do a lot of things well. Not great, but
But
he's
not
going
enough
to give
if you look at the
you.
teams in the East.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
but
know.
it's not going to
just,
do. It's not going to do anything.
I just felt St. Louis Blues. I thought based on where they were and where they are now, they just kind of did nothing. So I guess they gave up on the season as well.
Oh, they absolutely gave up on the season. They traded just about everybody.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting one. And then I would say this: that my last team, and it's not a surprise, but why don't they just shut the arena down and tell the Anaheim Ducks, like, we're not even going to, put a team on the ice? Because I think they got rid of their entire team. Do they even have players anymore? Like, they just seem to dump everybody.
No, it's funny how you say that because they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Who's going to struggle the next couple of games is the Rangers because they can't even call anybody up to play the Bruins tomorrow. So they're going to be with 12 forwards and I believe 5 defensemen. They can't even call anybody up because they can't afford it on the cap.
Yeah, well, you want to pick up the top dog in Patrick Kane. That's probably what's going to happen.
That's the thing. And I think today was quiet in the NHL outside of really Klingberg.
Yeah.
There was no big names that went. And because I think almost all the teams are like at their limit with cap.
Yeah.
And you need somebody else to
I think that's what they said.
Even broker some of those salaries.
Even the Bruins one with the Bertuzzi, they said basically Detroit kept 50% of his salary. That's why it was a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, and
So
with the Orlov deal, they had to give Minnesota a draft pick just to have them eat some of the salary.
It's kind of funny how it all works in the NHL, but that's really some great NHL talk. What a great trade deadline, though. It was so interesting to see.
It was a whole month of moves, and it was awesome.
Really good. Ron, it is pick and roll time. And we took, episode 9, we went back 9 years to look at the 2014 NFL draft and looked at some of the great defensive players. We didn't pick anybody from the secondary. These were all defensive linemen, linebackers. And we're going to decide how we rank them from 6 to 1. And those players are Jadeveon Clowney, Khalil Mack, Anthony Barr, Aaron Donald, C.J. Mosley, and D. Ford. And we are ranking them from 6 to 1. You are first this week, my friend. So you start us off. You're number 6.
All right. I'll give you the correct list, and then Eric will mess it up.
Okay.
I'm sure you're going to have a ball with this one.
Aye.
All right, so number 6, I've got Anthony Barr. 112 games. Why boo?
I don't think the fans like it out there. Go ahead.
Okay,
Anthony
whatever.
Barr, go ahead.
112 games, 18 and a half sacks, 370 tackles, 8 forced fumbles, made it to 4 Pro Bowls. Just I don't know. It's like it just wasn't enough. Like 18 and a half sacks was almost the worst on this list.
Yeah.
Only CJ Mosley had less, but there's other reasons why he is out
Okay.
there.
All right.
So with the least amount of sacks besides Mosley, I like the tackles. Don't get me wrong. I like those tackles, but I have him sixth.
Okay.
I have him sixth.
Okay.
Number 5, I have D Ford, and I looked at him. He can't stay, in the lineup, but 85 games, he has 40 sacks. Gets a sack at least every other game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. So if you're only going to play 8 games in the season, that's a little different. But I thought his numbers were good enough to beat Barr.
Okay.
I mean, Barr played 27 more games and had 22 less sacks. So, and I know again, Barr isn't that kind of guy, but
yeah.
I like those stats.
I agree, but I'm more of a D Chevrolet guy. But I mean,
wow. So anyway, he was fifth. He was only 1 Pro Bowl. You got to play enough to get on the Pro Bowl, I guess.
Kind of helps, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Unless everybody backs out like they normally do, and then you get
right.
the Pro Bowl
So
nods anyway.
I mean, either way, if those two at the bottom, I mean that's the way it should be.
Okay.
The rest of the guys, I think, were better than those 2 guys.
Okay.
Number 4, I had Jadeveon Clowney.
Okay.
At number 4, 109 games played, 43 sacks, 13 forced fumbles, 224 tackles, and 3 Pro Bowls. I mean, those are really good numbers. Like 43 sacks is pretty good, but
another hype guy though.
Yeah. So, but he's definitely better than the other 2 guys. Even like the tackles weren't that far off for Anthony Barr. I think Anthony Barr is more of a run stuffer, isn't he?
He's a linebacker, yeah.
So
versus the other 2 are defensive linebackers.
Right.
Yep.
So, number 3, I went with CJ Mosley. Look, I mean, 593 tackles. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And he still managed to get 8 forced fumbles, 11 and a half sacks, and he's not a guy that goes in there for the sack.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that's worrying about your running back. He's the guy that's running, with the route for a tight end. So he's that guy.
Yeah.
Taking care of the slot receiver kind of guy, right? So he went to 5 Pro Bowls. I thought his numbers were excellent for a linebacker that does those skills. But the other 2 guys,
some of the best.
Yeah. Number 2, I have Khalil Mack. 84 and a half sacks. I mean, far and away better than the other guys on this list. That's all behind
just a little bit. Yes, just a little bit.
300,
which is crazy to think about because they all got drafted the same year, and you start to look at the numbers.
385 tackles.
Yeah,
385 tackles and 25 forced fumbles. He's played in 7 Pro Bowls and an All-Pro 3 times.
Yeah.
Only 2 guys on the list that had All-Pro, and they are the number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
He also won Defensive Player of the Year. It was like 3 different awards, but it was all for the same year.
Yeah.
So 1. So Khalil Mack number 2 and number 1. To me, it wasn't even a question. just by the eyeball test, and you always hate when I do the eyeball test.
Love the eyeball test. You know what? There's 2 eyeballs, by the way.
Yes,
Okay.
right. So there's
Okay.
more balls.
Balls everywhere.
So you got to keep your balls open.
Okay. Focus.
Eyeballs. Aaron Donald, number 1.
We've got to make this an adult-rated video, by the way, at some point.
Hey, you should hear some of the podcasts out there.
Yes. We
I
had
don't
Tame.
even know why they do it. You don't need to. I mean, we keep it really clean.
We do. Yeah. All our balls are very clean for the most part.
Okay, you don't have to go there.
I golf all the time. You don't golf?
I do. No, I clean, use the solution to clean the saline.
There you go. See?
All right. So 103 sacks. 100. Let me just repeat that. 103 sacks.
What? Right? Yes.
I mean, he's got the most by
in
far.
9 seasons.
By far.
Yeah.
What is it? 312 tackles.
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy that's just tackling the quarterback all the time.
Yeah.
That's basically what he does. And 24 forced fumbles. Only Khalil Mack had more, and that was one more. 9 Pro Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
7 times All-Pro. I mean, that is ridiculous. Out of what, 9 seasons?
9 seasons. So he made the Pro Bowl every year, and he's 2 out of the 9 years he wasn't the All-Pro.
Yeah. Which I'm guessing the first season probably was.
Maybe.
And maybe a season, maybe he got hurt.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, various awards in those 3 years. And the only one on the list that has a Super Bowl championship. And he was a big part of that championship.
He was a very big part of that championship. All right. Not bad. Listen, we actually weren't that far off. We just.
No, I don't think we were.
4 through 6, we were. I went D Ford at 6.
Right, and I figured you would.
The tackles, I mean, just didn't do enough. 1 Pro Bowl, I was like, okay.
Right.
I went Jadeveon and Clowney at 5.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Barr, because of those 150 extra tackles, at 4.
Yep.
But then C.J. Mosley, I agree with you. 593 tackles, very impressive with that. And all these guys, for the most part, missed time. Khalil Mack as well as missed some time. But again, 84 and a half sacks, the 7 Pro Bowls, 3-time All-Pro. I thought that was phenomenal. But Aaron Donald, considered one of the best defensive players of all time. And his numbers prove that. So he had to be number 1. I agree with you on that one. So it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Like those 1-2, it was going to be 1-2. The more I looked at it, it was like no way any of the other 4 guys could be ahead of them. So now, great list though. I thought you did pretty well, my friend.
It was a good list. It was a good list of players. I like a lot of these players.
Think about it, 9 years ago, 2014 NFL draft class.
Yeah.
Not bad. And they did pretty well there.
Yeah. No,
So-
it was fantastic.
So Ron, hopefully Sarah, our friend there from Israel, Kenny, if you're still on, it's prediction time. Get your names on here. So let's bring up our results from last week. We both went 5-3. So we tied last week. Currently, we remain the same. You are 4 games ahead, 63% of your picks, and then 56 for myself. Manny, 66 leads with his win percentage. Kenny actually over 500, so we're pretty proud of that.
He's ahead of you.
That didn't go too well last year. Okay, it's 24 games. All right, easy. And Chakra, if you ever get back on there, man, we got to get you back on this board and get your numbers up there. But if you're on right now and you want to chime in with any of these, chime in. Faceless, Serendipity, Kenny, our friend from Israel there. Let's see what we got. But Ron, you are first this week. So on March 3rd, you got the Memphis Grizzlies at the Denver Nuggets. That is tonight.
Oh, this is a tough one. I like this Memphis team, but I gotta say, I gotta go Denver at home. That's going to be a big game because, I think the winner of that game kind of has some momentum, throughout the next couple of weeks at least.
Yeah. Yeah. I went Denver as well, and surprised me though, because I went Denver based on the fact that they got blown out a couple of weeks ago by Memphis.
Right.
And I think they need to make a statement now to say, look, we're still the kings of the West. It's our division. And they're at home, and they play very well at home. They're one of the best home teams, Denver. So I went that route with Denver. So good pick there. On March 5th, I went actually Phoenix Suns at the Dallas Mavericks. I still think Dallas is an up and down team. They haven't figured out how to gel, and I like the way Phoenix's direction was with Kevin Durant. I went Phoenix in this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. Look, it's not going to be easy gelling with Kyrie and Luka.
They'll have great games, and then I also feel like they'll have those off games.
Yeah, and that's just it. I don't think he was a good fit there, to be honest with you. I think Luka needs the ball to be effective, and I think with Kyrie that wants the ball and bring it up, and he wants to be the one that distributes and have everything run through him. But Dallas wins with Luka having that.
Yeah.
And I think Kyrie should be the one to say, hey, you know what? I'll just compliment you.
Take it. Yeah.
And that's not what's going to happen, because that's not what Kyrie does.
Yeah. So, and again, think about this dynamic too. Kyrie Durant.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Be interesting.
Right? So that should be a fun matchup to see how that goes.
Yeah. So I think that's actually, again, that's going to come back and hurt Dallas, because now Kyrie's going to want the ball all the time.
Yeah.
And
wants to show up Kevin
Durant is better.
Yeah. March 6th, you got the Boston Celtics at the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, Cleveland's really good at home.
Very good at home, yeah.
But Boston has been struggling. So I think that the Celtics know that this could be a potential matchup for them. In the playoffs, maybe round 2, possibly even round 1. Who knows? But I think that the Celtics are going to come to play, and hopefully everybody is rested up and ready to go, because they're going to need all hands on deck to beat Cleveland at home.
Yeah, listen, Cleveland.
But I'm going Celtics.
Yeah, Cleveland leads the series 2-1. Cleveland plays really well at home. Boston needs this game. I went Boston, which, if you look at the numbers, it doesn't really match up, but they beat them the last game that they played last week. So I feel like Boston knows how to win now against them, and I feel like they're going to pull that off.
Yeah.
March 4th, New York Rangers at the Boston Bruins. I don't think the Rangers have gelled yet. I still feel like they're going to struggle. That's tomorrow night. To your point, they don't have enough players they can bring up that are going to be an impact. And I feel like Boston, even with guys out, they find another guy to replace them and play just as well. And Boston at home really doesn't lose. I'm going Boston.
Yeah, I'm going Boston. I think the Rangers are going to be struggling, towards the latter part of this game. And what period does the Bruins stand out in? And that is the third period. The goal differential is just incredible. Look what they did to Buffalo. I mean, I know Buffalo isn't the Rangers, but if you get a Rangers team that's a little tired, because they're going to have to expend a lot of energy to keep up with the Bruins, and I don't think that's going to happen. And I think the Bruins want this game big time.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I agree with you, Boston. Also on March 4th, you got the Colorado Avalanche at the Dallas Stars, Ron.
That is tomorrow. I'm going to go Colorado on this one.
I'm going to go Colorado as well. I think Dallas still has to prove to me that they can win.
Yeah.
And beat those top West teams. And until that happens, I feel like Colorado knows how to win. They've proven that part of it. So, no, that's funny. So far, we're all tied up. Let's see if we get any more. March 5th, got the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Carolina Hurricanes. I went Hurricanes here. I just feel like they're the better team. I feel like Tampa Bay didn't do enough to impress me, and I feel like maybe the run's over. So I went Carolina. I think they got something to prove here.
Yeah, I went Carolina as well.
Yes.
So look, they're going to be at home. I think. I mean, I don't know if any of the new players, if all of the new players are going to be in the game for both teams. Um, but neither team really changed that much, and I got to give Carolina the edge on that.
I agree. I agree. Some XFL action. We got the both undefeated on March 5th. The St. Louis Battlehawks at the DC Defenders.
Yeah, I mean, they're both undefeated, but one team just puts up points, and that is St. Louis. They're really good. They have very good offense. So I went with St. Louis. I believe I'm 1-1 in that.
Yeah, I think I am as well. I went DC Defenders.
Yeah.
We got one different finally, and at home. I feel like they can maybe stifle the St. Louis Battlehawks a little bit.
I don't know about that.
And go that route.
If you look at that offense, it is glaringly a large disparity.
Yeah, yes, it is. But we'll see. March 5th as well. You got the Pennzoil 400. That's in Las Vegas. Need to pick a top 5 driver, Ron. Is it my turn? It's my turn. I went Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch to finish in the top 5.
Oh boy, so many jokes I could make right now.
Yes, let's not.
Is there a
No, Ron? Give me who's your driver?
Is there a driver with
got?
the last name Ball in this?
I do not know.
Let me look this
going?
up.
No, boy.
Let me see. NASCAR driver. No.
Okay.
No. All right, so I'm gonna go with the guy I wrote down then, Joey Logano.
Joey Logano. It's a good pick too.
He's won it in the past, I believe.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. He has.
Like about 4 years ago.
All right. And UFC tomorrow night. UFC 285, John Jones versus Krill Gain. And that's a heavyweight title matchup.
Yeah, John Jones gained like 38 pounds to make this weight class. And I believe it's going to be his first heavyweight. I don't know. He just looks meaner to me.
Okay.
It's like when you see two fighters, you want to go with the guy that really looks mean, right?
Sure.
That's what I like to do, like look at all those years with Tyson, he looked mean.
Okay. All right. So
until he, bit.
Wasn't mean. Yes.
So
who are you going with? John Jones?
I'm going with John Jones.
All right. I went Krill Gain. And I just think John Jones been out of the game for a bit. And I feel like this is you come right back into a heavyweight title fight. That
I've seen Gain fight too, and I liked him. He just seems like he's okay.
Yeah, he's gaining momentum. So I feel like it's going to be in his favor to win that fight. Ron, before we move on to our final thoughts, great pick prediction segment, by the way. Tell all the wonderful people out there if they'd like to support Sports Unfolded, how they can do that and be a sponsor of this fine sports talk show.
Yeah, just send us an email. No.
And let's move on to our final thought.
No, look, you can just send us an email to ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send out all the information, but really what you want to do is just know that it costs less than going to one of your donut establishments, and it costs less than grabbing your coffee and donut. And it's simple as that. And you can sponsor the show, or you can sponsor a segment, like Pick and Roll. Why wouldn't a tire company want to sponsor Pick and Roll?
Yeah,
You know,
I think it'd be a great one.
I think it would be a great one. So send us an email.
Yeah, and if you're watching us on SCC TV, that's Public Access Channel 12 in Southeast Connecticut, right? What a great way to advertise your business. We're on Public Access Channel 12 every Tuesday night, so you can have eyes on you there as well. So any of the local businesses in the Southeast Connecticut market, if you're checking us out on Southeast Connecticut, just email us, and we can definitely get your business to have more eyes on them. Ron, it is final thought time, and you are first this week.
Yeah. Look, the draft is coming up, and you got a lot of players that have a lot of skills in different areas, and this is a time of the year where teams have to do their due diligence and find diamonds in the rough, in the later rounds, and pick those players in the first round that are sure things. Well, unfortunately, in life, nothing is a sure thing. I mean, we've seen a lot of players get drafted number one overall and never wind up doing anything in the NFL.
Yeah.
And there's countless players that never even make an NFL roster, by, the time things are said and done. But what they need to do is start drafting quality players. So that way, these players can basically get through college, stay out of trouble, do the right things, because we already seen it. One kid's getting arrested, Carter, I believe his name is, right?
Jalen Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, already in trouble. And we don't need any more Hernandez incidents. We don't need, players that grow up to be like, say, Ray Rice. We don't need any more of those incidents.
Yeah.
So
Antonio
please,
Brown.
yeah, right. So please, teams, it's time that you step up and make your picks count as far as humans. They really need to be good humans. I mean, that's
Right?
all you can. That's all you can ask for. And the football stuff will pan out for you, just like every year. When we draft these players, it doesn't necessarily mean that your guy is going to be great, but if they're going to be serviceable players, that's a win in my book. That's a win. So just do that. Draft good people. Good people.
Yeah. Well said, Ron. Yeah, character means so much. So before I go into my final thought, just want to mention MLB preview show coming up at the end of this month, March 28th as well. Tune in for that. April 24th, 8 p.m. We will do a live NFL draft watch party where we will break down all 32 teams and their picks as they happen. So tune in for that. Join us live and tell us how you feel the picks are going as well during that show. And watch that Major League Baseball preview show. We have a really good time breaking down that as well. And we'll give you our winners, our prediction on who will win the World Series this season. My final thought, Ron, is actually on a player. I'm not sure you even know his name because it's not somebody that honestly has been well hyped, but that's Antoine Davis. And he plays for Detroit Mercy Titans, which is a college in the Horizon League. Unfortunately, he is 3 points short of becoming tying the all-time record scoring in NCAA history with Pete Maravich. The team's 14-19. There's ways for them to get in a tournament for him to possibly continue to at least have an opportunity to break the scoring record. I would love to see the NCAA do the right thing and let this kid have an opportunity. It just makes sense. 5-year college player, stayed in school, did the right things, continues to, and I know a lot of people are going to not agree with this, but I would say this, Ron, at some point, and sometimes they make exceptions for anything. Put him in I think the CBI tournament. It's not the NCAA tournament. It's one of these little major, guys that don't get in the tournament or the NITs. Let him play in that. give him an opportunity to break the scoring record. I think it would be great for the NCAA to at least get this record now current, like they did with the NBA scoring. It's current. But that was my thought. I thought it'd be a great opportunity for him to have an opportunity to try to get that scoring record. I thought it was something important to me. That is our show for tonight. Pasta with 2 meatballs. It's been an interesting one. Ron, I want to thank you for a great show. Everybody that joined us live, Sarah, Faceless, Kenny, our friend from Israel there, thank you so much for all the insight, and we will check out that documentary. We will, thank you. Take care. Have a great weekend as well, Faceless. Ron, I will see you next week. I cannot wait. We'll continue to see how this goes with these NHL trades, if any of them benefited him or not. We will definitely look at that as well, as so much more we will cover in the sports world next week. Ron, you take care. Fans out there, if you're watching us, share this show, continue to support us, and follow us on all our social media platforms. We appreciate all the support. And all we ever ask for every single week is peace on earth.
Have a good night, everybody.